I'm going to do a basic tutorial on the Hass OM2 controller. This is similar to most other Hass controllers that are out there, with slight modifications depending on machine type. To begin, before we start this, I would like to say that you must always consult with your instructor before using these machines. This is not intended as an instruction to teach you how to use the machine, but as a refreshment and a knowledge base for you to operate this controller if you have only done so a few times before. So the first thing we do is we can power the machine on. There's also a power off button when you are finished, an emergency stop button in case there is some kind of machine crash, a hand jog here which can be used to control spindle speed, axis motion, and different things like that, a cycle start, this begins the operation that we've loaded in, and a feed hold. This can pause an operation if we need to spray some coolant on or clear some chips or a number of things like that. We then have the text entry field here, which is where we're doing most of our control, and then we also have our screen up here. So to begin, we power the machine on. When the machine is powered up, we are brought to their home screen. Here we can see the program that was previously loaded. Here is just our general menu field. That's going to change based on what options we select. Here we have spindle speed and information. We also have spindle load and axis load information. At the bottom is our alarm panel. This states different things like whether the coolant's on, if there's an alarm condition, different things like that. We then have the position of the machine. This is sometimes featured in absolute coordinates or relative coordinates based on what you've entered in your program. And then at the end we have cycle times. This isn't really needed except in industrial situations where you want to estimate the cycle times that you are running the same part over and over again. So to begin, we can go to the edit menu. In the edit menu, we see the program that we've loaded in, and we can change particular things about this program. For example, if I would like to change the tool number that's being used, here we have tool 202. This is obviously wrong because this machine only has 5 tools. So let's say from previous knowledge, I already know what the tool is, and it's tool 05. Down here, I would enter T05, and then I can hit alter. When I hit alter, the T20 that was selected changes to T5. You can also insert new text, delete text, and you can undo your last operation as well. The next field is the mem field. This shows the program that has been loaded in. It also shows up here that we have an error code. It says that the servos are off right now. You will always see this error when the machine starts up. And to clear it, we just hit reset once. Now we can see the codes that are active. We can see the level of coolant. As you'll notice, this is flashing. So there is no coolant currently in this machine. We can see the active tool life. This is something in industry that you would use if you were trying to track the tool life. Then here we have our offsets. These are usually previously set by the lab instructor, the lab technician. And then down here we have the machine position and the counters in the same field as before. This is just used to view your program, and your program can be run from here. So if everything is already set up and you know what's going on, you can hit the cycle start button and your program will begin. The next we have is MBI. Here we can enter our own program. If you need to do something very short, if you need to check a tool offset or check a position, this is where you can do it. So to begin, we can erase the program. So there is no program currently loaded. So the first thing that I would like to do is I'd like to set what tool we are using. So we enter the text that we would like down here. Then when we have finished entering that line, we hit enter. It enters the text up here. Then, let's say I would like to do another operation. I'm going to do a rapid movement to, let's say, x2.0. And then that is going to be entered in the next line. So if you need to erase this and start over, you can do by hitting the erase program. Once you have entered your code, we hit cycle start, and it begins the running process. The next field is hand job. This is a very useful field if you need to move the machine around manually. What you do is you select hand jog, you select the axis that you would like to control, and then you can move the machine with the dial here. You can also set the increment at which you would like to move. It is recommended that you move at a lower increment, especially if you are in close quarters. If you move at a higher increment, You can damage the machine by crashing it into a part, and you can also hurt your part and the tool. This machine also displays G54 information, so if you have offsets set in your program, it will display what they are here. The tool offsets, which can be edited. To edit these, we can select them. So for example, currently this one is 546.480. If I wanted to add 20 onto that, I would do negative 20.0 and then hit enter. It'll ask you if you would like to accept that setting. You then press yes, and you will notice that the offset then changes by that amount. This is very handy if you need to do constant tool changes, but with the machine already set up, you should not need to change that tool. The next menu is the zero retention. We don't need to worry about that. And then finally, the list program one. This one is very important because it is the interface that you're going to be using when you have to import a program and you have to choose a program. So we have two. We have the memory, and we also have the USB device. Currently, there is no USB device inserted, but if you'd like to, you can insert one inside the machine, and any programs that are on it will show up here. Here, we're going to go to the memory. We slide down, and it shows all the different programs that are in here. So we can go through them, we can hit enter, and it selects the program. And then when we go to men, we can see it loaded. Then to go back to this program, we see them all again. And if you want, there's options down here that will let you erase them. For example, hitting F1 can erase the program. To receive a program from the machine, we go down and we put the cursor over the all function. When it is over all, that allows the machine to receive. Then what we do is, here you can see we receive and send. You rarely need to send a program, so we're just going to receive. Here you will see that it is waiting for data. Now you would go to the computer and you would send your program. Once the program is sent, you will see it scroll into the machine and it will be added to the list here. Your program from the computer, from EdgeCam or whatever software you're using, can then be run on the machine. In this case, we're not receiving anything. We're clearing that error. So this is the keypad. Then we have the overrides down here. These can be used anytime while your program is running. The first one to focus on is the rapid motion down here. One thing that is always key is that whenever you're running your first program, you never run it at full rapid because you don't know if you've made programming errors or if there are programming errors. So we always run it at 5%. This gives us time to stop the machine if we notice that it is going to crash. Next, we have forward, stop, and reverse. This is spindle control. So we can do this in MEM, we can do this in hand control. Next is the spindle speed. We can increase and decrease the speed by 10%, and we can return to 100%. The other thing we can also do is we can hand control the speed to get a much finer adjustment of what the RPM we want is. Next, here on the overrides, we can do the exact same thing with the feed rate. It is recommended that you turn your feed rate down very low when you're doing your first run. Then, when you verify your run, you would run it at the recommended speed that is done through your calculations. These controls here are again for selecting which axis you want. These are for moving around, and these are different displays. So you can display alarm messages. Currently we have no alarms. We've already displayed the program. Here we can display current machine position. This focuses directly on the offset. Current commands, we can see them here. Those we don't really need except in the next direction. Alarm messages, we did that. Diagnostic stuff. This is where you can enter different information about the machine. So for example, you can change the units from millimeters to inches. Again, this should be done by the instructor. There's settings graph as well. This is the same kind of thing. We can change the I/O of the machine. And there is also a drill